right after Trump impeachment numero uno, what happened? Of course, the coronavirus crisis hits worldwide. That immediately walloped the oil and gas industry like nothing ever in its history has ever hit them before. The floor just dropped below them. At one point early on in the coronavirus crisis, the price of a barrel of oil was negative. It cost less than $0 to buy a barrel of oil, meaning if you owned a barrel of oil, not only could you not charge somebody money for taking it from you, you would actually have to pay somebody to take that barrel of oil away from you because it was worth negative dollars. And over the course of the pandemic, it hasn't really gotten better. I mean, the price of oil has pinged around, but it's a disaster for that industry. Yesterday, ExxonMobil just posted its worst quarterly earnings in 40 years. I mean, not long ago, Exxon was the most profitable corporation in the history of corporations for multiple years running. This quarter, they lost over $20 billion. And this is now 4 straight quarters for them losing money. This was the richest company on earth by a mile forever and ever. Now they're a company that loses more than $61 million every day they stay in operation. They're losing $61 million a day. This was the headline this morning in the business section of the New York Times. After a bruising year, the oil industry confronts a diminished future. Big oil companies lost billions in 2020 because of the pandemic. They face broad questions now about how they will adapt to climate change and regulations. So that book that I wrote, Blowout, tried to document how the oil and gas industry has undercut democracy, hollowed out democracy, both in parts of the United States and around the world. It was about how the strength and the incredible financial resources of that industry has stopped us from making even the easiest reforms and fixes when it comes to the climate. Well, now that mighty industry is sucking wind. And so stuff is changing. It seems like a whole new world is possible. I mean, listen to this from today. This was Senator Chuck Schumer, who as of today is running the United States Senate. This is him announcing today what they are getting to work on in the United States Senate now that the Democrats have control as of day one.
Senate Democrats are not going to waste any time taking on the biggest challenges facing our country and our planet. It's long past time for the Senate to take a leading role in combating the existential threat of our time, climate. Climate change touches virtually every aspect of our economy and involves virtually every aspect of public policy. So as the Biden administration prepares a whole-of-government approach to combating climate change, the Democratic majority will pursue a whole-of-Senate approach as well.
A whole-of-Senate approach. Now that the Democrats are in control of the Senate, he's assigning every committee in the U.S. Senate to start moving climate legislation. They are moving on it. This past week, the Biden administration unveiled multiple efforts they are going to pursue all at once, including through executive action, to make the country take a big shift on climate. Long, long overdue, easy measures. Today, Pete Buttigieg, one of the best communicators in a generation of Democratic talent, was sworn in as Secretary of Transportation in the Biden administration. Among other things, Secretary Buttigieg will be overseeing the transformation of the huge fleet of all federal vehicles to all electric vehicles. General Motors just announced that they will no longer make internal combustion engines for their cars and SUVs within the next 15 years. And I'll tell you right now, the best Super Bowl ad you are going to see on Sunday is the Will Ferrell, Awkwafina, Kenan Thompson ad about GM shifting to electric cars and this groundbreaking new battery they're putting in like 30 different models of cars. Their whole fleet is going to be electric in less than 15 years. It's happening. It's happening all at once and now very quickly. When the worst opponents of us getting it together on climate are collapsing economically or are so rocked back on their heels economically and politically, honestly, that some of even the big oil companies are trying to decide now if they might switch sides and maybe try to be good guys on this issue for once. When your opposition collapses like that, it's time to run the field. And a Democratic president is in office who is committed to this as a top priority. And the American people voted the Democrats into control, both the United States House and the United States Senate, when Democrats campaigned on the fact that they were going to move on this issue. It's happening. And it is happening in part because the bad guys on this issue have collapsed. It is happening in part because of the suddenly sagging fortunes of what until a year ago, was the richest, most destructive industry on the planet. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.